Recording in progress.
Special closed session of the City of Emeryville's council meeting. This meeting is being conducted in person at 13333 Park Avenue, Emeryville. Please call roll.
Councilmember Mora,
Here.
Councilmember Pryforce,
Here.
Councilmember Welch,
Here.
Vice Mayor Solomon, and Mayor Carr.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Any ex parte communications? Seeing and hearing none, I will move on to public comment.
May it please the council, my name is Gary Fergus. I represent the 45th Street Artists Cooperative. I'm representing them pro bono so that you know that the proceeds of this claim, which is $205,000, will go entirely to the reserve fund for the co-op to pay for needed repairs and maintenance of a 100-year-old building where low and moderate income artists currently live. The reason we are here and the reason the claim is here, in 1987 when the co-op was created, no one anticipated that 34 years later there would be a grave public health problem with the sewer system. None of the parties contemplated it. What happened though is East Bay MUD adopted ordinances that says how this was to be paid for. And the city of Emeryville, in its ordinances, 7.8.211, adopted the East Bay MUD ordinances in their entirety. And what the East Bay MUD ordinances say is when a public entity owns property, public entities shall maintain the sewer laterals associated with their properties. In this particular circumstance, the land was owned by the Redevelopment Agency of Emeryville. In 2012, you inherited or became the successor agency for the Redevelopment Agency. And as of the end of last year, you had $19 million in funds for redevelopment, which can be used for infrastructure and allowing for a diverse housing base. The reason we are here is when this problem arose, the co-op came to the city, and we believe everybody was operating in good faith. But it's a little bit of a square peg and round hole because this is a limited equity public housing rather than a co-op. And as recently as
Sir, you can have some member of the public yield some time to you, if you like. Yes, I yield my 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So the situation we find ourselves in is that the co-op tried to do the right thing. It paid the $200,000 because it was told by the city it had to, but yet the ordinance says that because the city owns the land, the redevelopment agency owned land, they were responsible for paying for it. So as a matter of equity, we are before you. It just isn't fair for these low and moderate income artists to have to pay for this public good. And we're asking that this claim be allowed at the time it is because not through bad faith, through everyone trying to do the right thing, but they simply applied the wrong rules. They applied the rules for a condo association, and this is not a condo association. This is the City of Art and Innovation. These people are artists. They made significant contributions to the community, and it's fair. You have the funds. This is not out of your regular budget. This is out of redevelopment, and that's what it was for. I have here joining me today, just in the room, is the board president, Dominic Chain, and also the treasurer, Tara Cummings. This is a significant matter for the co-op, and we plead for equity. If you have any questions.
Thank you for your comment.
This is a matter for us that is out of our normal state. We didn't plan on this for our reserves. And this amount of money is a significant change for us. We have been operating, started out as a tenants union, and we have 58 studios of 80-some members. And in 1987, the city entered into an agreement with us by helping buy half the value of one of our 3 buildings. And we have gone on from there. Banks loaned us the rest. It's really been an excellent relationship we've had with the city. We've helped start programs like the Emeryville Youth Art Program when the city could not, in the school system, have art classes. They didn't have the budget. We raised money, stepped up and did it. We've had the annual art show for years upon years. We were significant in getting state monies for our city, for the Rotten City Cultural District, that these funds have just, you've seen them used, and we are providing low to moderate income, affordable housing for our city without it costing the city to date anything but a loan that we've been paying interest on. And we are requesting this money not to reduce our rents, but to stay in our normal maintenance fund that we need to have. And we are a little low right now. This was a little more than we expected. And we just would hope that you would consider this as something that will enable us to go on in our normal creative fashion of being good members of the city. Many of us have served on committees, like Archana and I are both on current committees. Thank you. If you have any questions, of course, I'm totally interested in answering your questions.
Thank you for your comment. If there is no further public comment, we will proceed to closed session.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
It is now 7:05 p.m. and I start the regular meeting of the City of Emeryville. The
Mayor,
meeting is being conducted.
Mayor Carr, if you plan to continue the closed session to a later time, I think you
Thank you.
should indicate that on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, appreciate that. Would you like to start with the reportable items?
If you plan to continue the closed session till after the regular meeting, then I would not report out until after the closed session is concluded.
Thank you. In that case, we are not yet adjourned from the closed session and will reconvene after the regular meeting of the City Council. So the meeting of City Council, a regular meeting of City Council has started. Please call roll.
Councilmember Mora,
Here.
Councilmember Pryforce,
Here.
Councilmember Welch,
Here.
Vice Mayor Solomon, and Mayor Carr.
Present.
You have a quorum.
The next item is the approval of final agenda. Is there a motion to approve the final agenda?
Motion to approve the final agenda.
Please take roll. I'm sorry, take the vote.
Councilmember Mora,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryforce,
Aye.
Councilmember Welch,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Solomon, and Mayor Carr.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For the special orders of the day, we have the proclamation of the City Council of City of Emeryville recognizing February 2026 as Black History Month. And I would like my honorable colleague, Courtney Welch, to do the honors of reading the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proclamation of the City Council of the City of Emeryville recognizing February 2026 as Black History Month. Whereas Black History Month, established in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson, is celebrated every February in recognition of achievements by Black Americans and all people of African descent in the United States. And whereas the City of Emeryville acknowledges the long history of forced enslavement and racism towards African Americans in the United States and the resulting generational impacts. And whereas the City of Emeryville has committed itself to racially just policies and practices that create opportunities for all people to thrive. And whereas the United Negro Improvement Association adopted the Pan-African flag as a universal symbol of Black liberation on August 13th, 1920. And whereas the red in the flag stands for the blood shed by Africans in their fight for liberation, the black in the flag stands for the people of the African race, and the green stands for the fertility, productivity, and beauty of the African continent. And whereas in recognition of the significance of Black History Month and the City of Emeryville raises the Pan-African flag at City Hall for the month of February and has done so since 2022. And whereas the scientific, technological, economic, political, and cultural innovations by Black Americans and African Americans have been essential to the progress of our nation, and we will continue to honor these accomplishments every month and every day in the City of Emeryville. Now, therefore, be resolved by the City Council of the City of Emeryville that the month of February 2026 is proclaimed Black History Month in the city, proclaimed by the Mayor of the City Council of the City of Emeryville at a regular meeting held Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, and signed by our esteemed Mayor, Mayor Carr.
Thank you, Member Welch.
Thank you.
Any comments on the proclamation? Yes, I just called for public comment. This is solely on the proclamation, sir.
I would like everyone to know, and especially the 4 council members, Murrah, Carr, Solomon, and Welch, we have a Black man on our city council. He's African-American ancestry, that's his race, and his ancestors came from Africa, and he sits on our council, and he's Black. Thank you.
Thank you for a comment. Any other comments? If there are none, we can, any council members have any comment on this item? Yes, Council Member Welch.
I just wanted to thank you, Mayor Carr, for the honor of reading our annual proclamation celebrating Black History Month. And Obviously, we know what is going on throughout the nation with the erasure of not just Black American history, but the history of all the amazing accomplishments and the struggles and the organizing and the push for equity that has been done for by many communities of color. And it can be very bleak and it is disheartening and it is a form of erasure and it is a way for people to not just try to erase a very painful past, it is an attempt for them to repeat it. It is a way for people to pretend as if things that happened in the past weren't that bad because they want to bring those actions back. But even with that push, we see the push back. And I am very proud to be in this city and in this area, in this part of the nation, that is not just pushing back, but keeping that history and the culture alive and noting that the future is bright. And so this Black History Month, I am choosing joy. I am recognizing the struggle of my ancestors, many in my own family, the organizing, the push, the fight for liberation, for freedom, for rights, for equity, and but celebrating that the future is bright and that we will succeed this very painful part of our history, and we won't forget it. We will not go to the wayside. We will not allow people who want to forget the very painful parts of what has happened to Black Americans and other people of color in this country. We will not allow it to be erased, but the future is bright and the future has Black people. And so thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Welch. Any comments from any other members on the dais? Yes, Councilmember Pryforce.
Thank you for your remarks, Councilmember Welsh. So later today, I plan to raise during a future agenda item, which I've raised several times, the return. Well, no, actually, no, it's not a return. It's actually the establishment of land acknowledgement of those who actually did face erasure in Emeryville, and the erasure starts with our council meetings, land acknowledgement for the history of the Shell Mound, for the Ohlone people, and all things that were a part of the colonization and the decimation of sacred sites in Emeryville. I find it ironic that we talk about Black erasure, but thankfully I am a part as a Haitian American who does have ancestors from Africa. That is true, but more immediately, I am Haitian, and as someone who belongs to a tradition of resistance within Black history and the Black community, then of course our inclusion of all those who are systemically oppressed, like the Palestinian people, Free Palestine, but in our history in Emeryville specifically, as it relates to our lack of land acknowledgement, and so I am going to raise this issue, and in the spirit of Black History Month, it will be interesting to see how my colleagues vote on this issue, and it'll be something that I plan to continue and be persistent on, especially after the amazing remarks of George Galvis of courage during our recent protest that occurred in Emeryville. And so, Black history is, it's not just Black history, it's also an acknowledgement of everyone's history. Al Sharpton says that when America catches a cold, Black people catch a flu, and that's because we usually are the barometer, the canary in the coal mine as to the conditions happening in America. And so when I think about the protests in Minneapolis and other places, and protesters being killed, I also think about the history of our a history of our movements and of all of the Black protesters who also have been killed, who don't get as much media attention. And so, and in that tradition of resistance, I do plan to raise this, and we'll see what happens. And so, Black History Month has always been my favorite month, but I also recognize the irony of touting Black history when I believe the purpose of Black History Month was not just to acknowledge Black history, but also acknowledge the history of all humanity, and though we get it the worst. So, thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Pryforce. Any other member comments on this item? Okay. In that case, since I get to make my comments last as mayor, I am going to thank Councilmember Welch once again. You read a beautiful proclamation, and I'm proud to have a city where red diversity is recognized and celebrated. I'm proud to be the mayor of such a city. Proud to sit here on the dais with 2 Black council members and a city manager who has a Black heritage, as well our chief of police, who also is African American. I'm really proud to live in such a diverse city, and even prouder to be a mayor of such a diverse city. And Council Member Welch, we chose you as a senior council member, or as the senior most on this dais, to read that proclamation. So thanks so much for doing that. Going on to item number 5, council members' special announcements and reports on meeting attendance. Are there any such reports here today? Okay, if there are none, I would like to share the fact that I attended the League of Cities Council members and mayors meeting, which was in the last or close to last week of January. The city manager joined me for the first day, and she had to unfortunately depart on an emergency the rest of the days. But we did learn many, many amazing things on the League of Cities, as my colleagues have attended some of these conferences. And as you're aware, a lot of topics are touched upon, including council rules and procedures. This year, we also have an upcoming SB 707 that we need to go ahead and update our regulations with. That was also a topic of discussion. Most importantly, for clarity on procedure under the Brown Act, specifically Government Code Section 54954.3 and 54952.6. The public has the right to comment before or during the council's consideration of an item, and the council's role is to deliberate after that record is closed. Consistent with Robert's Rules of Orders, clarifying questions are taken before public comment, followed by public comment, and then council discussion and deliberation. Once the time for questions has closed and public comment has been called, additional questions are not in order unless recognized by the chair. I will proceed accordingly as I have. Next, we'll proceed to city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no report this evening.
Are there any ex-parte communications? Public comment for consent agenda and items not on agenda.
Well, the mayor just angrily told us she doesn't care about the 40-year precedents here how meetings are conducted. You and the mayor just told us you don't care, and you said it angrily. So you're going to sanction and censure your colleague, Mr. Pryforce, because that's your reading of the Robert's Rules of Order. But I've lived here for 43 years. I've seen how these meetings operate. What you're talking about is some new way to do it where the free speech or like understanding or citizen engagement is not deferred to. You could defer to the precedents before you got here. You're a newcomer, you just got here, And you could honor the precedents and go with this, citizen engagement, have that be the modus operandi, or you could do this strict reading of Robert's Rules of Order where you get to excoriate your colleague, Councilmember Pryforce. To Courtney Welch, Councilmember Welch, I don't think you're capable of seeing the irony here. You're talking about erasure of black people when you and 3 of your colleagues, you yourself, have been and are erasing a black person. And this is your colleague, Councilmember Pryforce. I don't think you're capable of seeing the irony, I guess. Otherwise, I don't think you would have said that. Or maybe it's just cynicism. It's very disappointed in my council members here tonight.
Next item is the consent calendar. Any motions on the consent calendar?
Approve consent.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Councilmember Welch and seconded by the Vice Mayor. Please take vote.
Councilmember Mora,
Aye.
Councilmember Pryforce,
Aye.
Councilmember Welch,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Solomon,
Aye.
and Mayor Carr.
Aye.
Motion carries.
There are no public hearings today and no action items today. Any department head reports?
None for me this evening, thank you.
There are no department head reports. Any future agenda item requests? Councilmember Pryforce.
Madam Mayor, colleagues, I am requesting that we agendize adoption of a formal land acknowledgement at the start of Emeryville City Council meetings. Not as symbolism, not as a trend, but as basic civic honesty. Because we are not just another East Bay city. We sit on top of one of the most documented sacred indigenous sites in the Bay Area, the Emeryville Shell Mound, a burial and ceremonial site for the Ohlone people that predates this city by thousands of years. And we built a shopping center over it. That's not distant history, that during Bay Street construction, ancestral remains were uncovered. For decades, Ohlone descendants and allies have had to protest outside our developments just to ask for dignity for their ancestors. So the question is why Emeryville should do a land acknowledgement. The question is, how could we possibly not? Across the East Bay, this is already standard practice. Berkeley includes a land acknowledgement directly in council agendas. Oakland commissions open meetings with one. Richmond has adopted acknowledgements in civic proceedings. We're behind our neighbors, and we are the city with the shell mound. If any city has a responsibility to lead here, it's Emeryville. I will be working with communities United for Restorative Youth Justice, Courage, and other community partners in encouraging collaboration with indigenous-led groups, like the ones that brought a land trust to Berkeley, who have long organized around Ohlone land, shell mounds, and cultural stewardship. Because I'll also be bringing this forward to our school board. If we want residents to understand where they live, we start by telling the truth out loud and teaching it constantly. It's pretty simple. We cannot keep opening meetings as if history began at incorporation. We cannot sit on sacred ground and say nothing. Truth first, then policy. I'm asking that this be scheduled for discussion and action. Thank you.
Members in support of this item? Seeing and hearing no support, this item fails, this request fails. Any other future agenda items? Yes, Councilmember Pryforce.
I'd like to invite our city council to explore the restoration of the Pledge of Allegiance to our council proceedings, which I will demonstrate. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Any Support for this item? Seeing and hearing none, this item fails. Since there are no further items on the agenda, it is now 7:25 and this meeting is adjourned. We will reconvene to the closed session.
Recording stopped.
session. Mr. Kennedy, would you have to
Recording
report
in
before we
progress.
adjourn? Sorry. Do I need to say that again? It is now 8:13 p.m. Mr. Kennedy, please report out of the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor Carr. There was no reportable action taken in closed session tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. We are now adjourned out of the closed session. It is 8:13 p.m.
Recording stopped.